Okay, thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. We are recalling to order now the regular meeting of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. May the record reflect that all board members are present now except for Mr. Dale Frazier and Mr. Tom Donnelly. And we are now going to move right to the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and now 1.07 is our student report. Hello, Elijah.
Hi everybody. I hope everybody had a good long weekend this past weekend. I certainly did. I slept a lot and did homework, of course. But yeah, so I'm just going to start off by recapping a lot that happened since our last meeting. So homecoming happened and Spirit Week happened, and across the board, there was so much participation across all the grades, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. There's so many people volunteering to help out and like decorate all types of stuff and like the games as well. It went so smoothly. I know last year there was some difficulties with the events, but this year it ran way more smoothly than it did last year. So it was super fun and I had a lot of fun, and kind of sad it's my last one, but you know, I still had fun. Also the Club Expo happened last week. There was a lot of signups for the club for History Honor Society. I was running the booth, and so many juniors signed up and seniors, because both seniors and juniors can sign up. And so we're really excited about that. Me and the board were really excited to like sign people up, because that's also coming up soon, our Civics Day. But I'll talk about that later. The PSAT is next Wednesday for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. 12th graders will be participating in a lot of workshops. There's yoga workshops, mental health workshops that are going on throughout the half day next Wednesday. Also, speaking of, tomorrow is the sign up for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and seniors will be in their homeroom for the first 30 minutes of the school day while the underclassmen sign up for the PSAT. There's a Suffern High School play that's about to happen in November. It's called 12 Angry Jurors, and I believe they're starting practices now and rehearsals, so that's also really fun. All sports teams are in the midst of their season. A lot of sports teams are playing league games. League games matter more than out of league games, because it determines their playoffs and like where they stand. So that's really important. It's also Hispanic Heritage Month, so a lot of clubs. Herencia Latina, I believe they put bios of a lot of famous Hispanic people and what they've done for their community and what they were all about, and like what they've done to benefit their community throughout the years, both past and present. The first Heroes and Cool Kids training session is at Ramapo College next Wednesday, where the Heroes and Cool Kids kids that were selected, both juniors and seniors, go to Ramapo College and they learn from the actual Heroes and Cool Kids board and what they're about, and like what's about for both new seniors and juniors. The spaghetti dinner is the 17th of October, and it's a fundraiser for the Interact Rotary Scholarship that goes on at Suffern High School. Also, progress reports will be going out within the next week. Tomorrow, progress reports are due for teachers tomorrow, Wednesday. And yeah, so parents will be able to see how their kids are doing throughout the first half of the first quarter. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Busy. All right. Moving on to 1.08. This is the minutes of the regular meeting of September 24th, 2024. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Mrs. Hodge, second. And Mr. Shapiro, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And any abstentions? Okay, very good. And now, superintendent's comments.
All right, thank you so much. Shana Tova and Happy New Year to all those who celebrated Rosh Hashanah last week. I hope everybody enjoyed a very nice holiday. The weather was gorgeous. And for those who didn't celebrate, I hope you found some time to relax and rejuvenate over that long weekend. We have the great pleasure of turning over the superintendent comments today to Dr. Castellane. He and his team worked tirelessly, especially over the summer months, preparing and partnering with our external auditors to ensure that they have all the information that they need to conduct a thorough financial audit of our school district. And I know Dr. Castellane is going to acknowledge and recognize one of our speakers this evening, who's going to lead the board through a brief summary of that audit. Dr. Castellane.
Thank you very much. As you know, we recently conducted the audit. We have from EFPR Group, we have Brian Salma joining us virtually, where he will present this year's findings.
Thanks, Dr. Castellane. Bear with me a moment as I pull up the presentation. I hope everyone can hear me okay.
We can hear you fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Can you see the full screen presentation or the one that has the black border around it?
The one with the black border around it.
All right, just bear with me one moment.
There we go. Oh, preview.
Hold on. Let me switch screens real quick. This might work better.
There we go.
All right, wonderful. Everyone, my name is Brian Salma. I am a director with EFPR Group, and our firm performed the audit of the Suffern Central School District for the year ended June 30th, 2024. Prior to this meeting, we did actually meet with the audit committee to go over the results of the audit in a little bit more detail. So anything significant truly was discussed in that meeting, but I did want to just touch on a few of the areas that we do find relevant to presenting to you. The first one would be our audit approach. This is where we start developing our audit plan and perform a risk assessment. During this risk assessment phase, we'll identify the significant audit areas, what areas we're going to test, and the combination of tests that we're going to perform, whether it is detailed tests of transactions, substantive transactions, or performing tests of internal controls. And then based on those tests that we perform, that enables us to issue our audit opinions on your financial statements. We are pleased to report that there were no deviations from our initial audit plan as was developed at the beginning of the audit. In terms of audit results, we are issuing several reports on the financial statements. The first one is your independent auditor's report on your basic financial statements. We do expect to issue an unmodified opinion on those financial statements. An unmodified opinion is a clean audit opinion. It is the highest graded opinion that can be given. And ultimately, it means that everything was in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and properly reported. We do also expect to issue a federal grant compliance audit, or what is known as a single audit. Within that report, there's going to be 2 additional audit opinions, one for an audit performed in accordance with government audit standards, and one for an audit of your federal funds in accordance with uniform guidance. With these 2 reports, there is an element of internal control that goes into them, and we'll discuss that a little bit more on the next page. The last financial report that we expect to issue is your extra classroom activity funds. This is a report that is designed to track the balances of those student activity funds, those clubs and organizations, and the transactions that occur throughout the year. And we also expect to issue an unmodified report opinion on the report as well. Going back to those two additional reports, the report of an audit performed in accordance with government audit standards. We do ultimately expect to issue an unmodified opinion on that report, but I did want to touch on that there was one deficiency in internal control that we did identify in our audit. That's known as finding 2024-001, and that's a result of significant audit adjustments that occurred across multiple funds. That was the only deficiency in internal control that we found. There were no instances of noncompliance or other matters that were required to be reported under that auditing report in accordance with government audit standards. For the other reports, for an audit of federal programs in accordance with uniform guidance, we have no material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or issues of noncompliance that were identified as part of our audit. And the program that we did test for that single audit was the Child Nutrition Cluster and the district's participation in the Community Eligibility Program. So overall, that is everything that we have in relation to the audit. Did anybody have any questions?
Doesn't look like we have any questions. I would just like to say thank you to Brian and his team. They did come down over the summer and we submitted everything else electronically, and they've been a pleasure to work with. This is my third year going through an audit with them. And as a fairly new business official, I would like to say that they've been extremely helpful throughout the entire year, not just during the audit season. So if there's no other questions, I will thank Brian for coming and appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castellane. Thank you, Brian. Just to close out my superintendent's report, next week we have our first Mountie Minds meeting of the school year. It's going to be on October 15th at the high school. I look forward to some of the folks in the audience here this evening typically participate in Mountie Minds. That's our community feedback forum. The topic of discussion on next Tuesday is going to be primarily on the facilities at the high school. Those who participated in Mountie Minds last year heard that there was a fair bit of discussion about the need to update and improve upon some of our physical plant issues that we face in the district. We all know, particularly the middle school and the high school are aging buildings, and there's a lot of discussion about perhaps it's time for a refresh of some of our spaces and improvements. So we're going to be discussing that, particularly focused on the high school on Tuesday. And certainly I'll report back to the board what some of the discussion outcomes were, but I look forward to meeting everybody at the Mountie Minds next Tuesday. And thus concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. And also thank you, Dr. Castellan, for keeping us up to speed on what's happening with the audits. We're now moving on to our first public participation section. This is on action items only. Action items are on our agenda tonight, 2.01 through 2.13. Is there anyone who is here to speak on an action item? Okay, seeing as there are none, we will close that portion of the meeting and move on to our action items. Before I ask for a consent agenda, are there any items that any board member would like to pull? No. Okay, very good. May I have a motion for a consent agenda then for 2.01 through 2.13? Mr. Kern, and second? Dr. Nickpon. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? And any abstentions? No. Very good. Okay, thank you. All right, and now we are moving on to our board member comments. Are there any board members with any comments tonight? No. Okay. Then let's move on to our public participation section. This is our second public participation section on any kind of district business. If you're here to speak on that tonight, when you approach the podium, please give us your full name and please keep your remarks to 3 minutes or less. And please do not mention any particular individual in the district by name. And also when you're finished speaking, our district clerk, Heather Campbell, has a sign-in list where you can give your name and any sort of information for follow-up, like an email or whatever, so we can follow up with you. Thank you.
My name is Judy Veltiti. I'm a member of the community, and I have two grandchildren, one who go to school here, one goes to Cherry Lane, and one goes to Connor School. I want to address the bus situation, the continuing bus delays. Last board meeting, just as Dr. Gunderson was saying that the transportation was getting better, my daughter-in-law, who was at home watching, texted me and said, then how come Patrick got home 25 minutes late or 30 minutes late or whatever? And I addressed this with Dr. Gunderson after the meeting, and he checked into it the next day and contacted me, contacted my daughter-in-law. All well and good. There was a reason for it. Today, my grandson got home from school 23 minutes late. I checked with one of my neighbors. His son got home 30 minutes late. The point I'm trying to make is the system is still broken. There could be one excuse after another every single day. It doesn't matter. What's happening is not working. A delay here, a delay there. Yes, if they're contacting the parents and letting them know what's happening, great, but it's still broken. So I'm just saying, it is broken, let's fix it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give it back to you after.
Hi, my name is Karen Grossman, and I'm speaking a couple different views tonight. So first, as the SEPTA president, which is the Special Education PTA, we're the only district-wide PTA. Everyone in the community is welcome to join. We had our first meeting last night, and I just want to take a moment to publicly thank Ms. Maribel, Dr. McKenzie, Mrs. Jeffson, Ms. Luisidis. I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. They came, they attended, they listened, they had great input. So thank you so much. We as SEPTA look very forward to our partnership to educate parents, educate students, and really show what inclusion can look like. Second, it's Dyslexia Awareness Month, as well as International Dyslexia Awareness Day. So yay. I couldn't be at the last meeting because I was on a PTA training, but thank you, Mrs. Weber. I did watch and saw the update that we got on literacy and the new programs at the elementary school. And I know he's not here, but thank you, Mr. Donnelly, for saying the word dyslexia. I don't know why it's so hard, but we can say the word. So this is year 3 of Splashed, that's Suffern Parents for Literacy, Action, Support, and Helping Educate Dyslexics. It's great to see the integration of phonics at the elementary level, but we still have questions. What about the students you missed, those middle schoolers and high schoolers? Has a fully OG certified teacher or specialist been hired? Or even better, a few of them. We saw Dr. Molly Ness was brought in again and spoke to teachers, but has she done the deep dive that we've asked for into our students' needs and what can be done? There were a bunch of middle school teachers who got to go to the IMSE trainings at the introductory level and went for a few sessions. Has this returned? Are they making their way towards fellowship or towards actual certification? And are any teachers been hired at actual certified fellowship trained levels? We have big concerns. There's an art to teaching. It's a skill. We all know it. The dream is that you have a teacher that understands lots of different programs and can pull to say, this kid needs this, but this kid needs that, instead of a blanket program, everyone gets it this way. Last spring, I did speak about concerns as I had a child moving from the middle school to the high school because one program was going and we were making progress and there was a great portfolio. And I was assured, nope, this is going to happen. Well, guess what happened? Oh, sorry, that teacher's not trained in that program. That teacher's only trained in this program. So back to square one for you. Where's the I in IEP? When will the student come first and not having to adapt to whatever can be offered? Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Oops. Are there any other speakers tonight? Thank you very much. We're going to close that portion of the meeting then and move on to superintendent's closing comments.
Thank you very much. I'd like to address a couple of comments this evening. Yes, there have been significant improvements in transportation, but not significant enough improvements in transportation for all students. And we are well aware that there are continuing delays, especially with certain routes. Everyone in the district should have received a message from our district as well that to further complicate things, the village of Suffern is going through some pretty significant milling and paving work right now for the next couple of weeks. So our transportation department is going to be doing the best that they can with Chestnut Ridge to avoid those detours and those additional delays, and we'll be messaging out to parents on those specific routes. I'm very happy to hear that Ms. Maribel and her team attended the SEPTA meeting yesterday. She was very excited about meeting the team, and I hope that those folks who are involved and attend the SEPTA meetings felt the enthusiasm for students and felt the genuine desire to make improvements in our special education department. And it is my hope and expectation that we are going to see some, if not all, of the items that were addressed earlier in the comments to be addressed and for us to continue to make improvements. So thank you very much for that. And then finally, in closing, next week is the New York State Board of Education Recognition Week. It's the week of the year where we celebrate and acknowledge the work of Board of Education members. So the Suffern Central School District has decided not to have any board meetings next week in honor of recognizing the hard work of our board members. But in all seriousness, I know that our community, our administration, parents and staff, and particularly our students might not know the details of the impact that each of you make on the Suffern Central School District, but know that it's very much appreciated. And thank you for the work that you do. We know that this is a volunteer position. It doesn't always feel like a volunteer position, but you do great work. And we thank you for your continuing support of ourselves and our community, and most importantly, our students. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your words and also impeccable timing on the School Board Appreciation Week. And now we're going to move on to our motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Oh, wait, hold on. Before I say that, next meeting, Tuesday, October 22nd, right back here in Hilburn. Thank you, everyone, for coming here tonight. Hope to see you in 2 weeks. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll be back here October 22nd.